Well, good afternoon, everybody. So next week is the open meeting, like I told you about in the last video, and I wanted to give you the rundown of what's going on in the agenda there, but also a couple of additional items today. So let's get right into it. What we have here is, first off, the SRP watershed. This is SRP gave us a call yesterday and said, hey, by the way, tomorrow we are going to be releasing a whole lot of water from Bartlett Dam. And the reason for that is they're getting a bunch from up north in the Flagstaff area because there's been a lot of snow and rain and stuff going on, and the snow's melting. And guess what? The runoff's coming down there. And as you can see, we've got a fairly full water system going on here. Some of these in the 95%. Horseshoe looks like it's about, or I'm sorry, Bartlett's about 85% full. So they're anticipating some potential issues with too much water. You can see the runoff. If you look at the typical runoff of about 1,400 cubic feet per second, yesterday they had runoff of almost, or a little over 5,000, and today they're looking at almost 9,000. So lots of runoff, lots of extra runoff that they have to deal with. Now, if you come down here to Bartlett Lake and the reservoir release, normally they do about 152 cubic feet per second, and this is generally, I believe this is just to keep turbines spinning so we can generate electricity, things of that nature. Even if they're not using that on the grid that much, they still keep it turning to power the dam and stuff like that. So there's always a little bit of release. Yesterday, that number bumped up to 378 cubic feet per second, and today they're expecting 900 cubic feet per second. And where does this water go? Well, it comes down the river system, and we should start seeing it here in the valley area in 3 or 4 days, I would expect. And the last time this was done, I believe, was 2019, so it's been a few years. And the McDowell Road area likely will be underwater for parts of it. So be prepared for that it's probably going to be drowned out. It's designed that way. It's not a big deal. One question I had for him was, could we put this into the Colorado River? And it was kind of a joking question, but the answer, unsurprisingly, was no. But they are working on a way to pump this water into the CAP system. So it's right now they can pump the water from CAP to SRP, but not the other way around. And that would directly help offset the Colorado River usage. It's still going to help offset the usage because towns and cities can pick up this water and use it and not have to use Colorado River. And, so it's not like it's going to waste is the point that I'm trying to make here. But this is a good thing, right? Extra water in Arizona is never a bad thing. I just hope that going forward, the northern states, when that snow starts to melt and run down through the Colorado River, that we start filling up our reservoirs here with that water. The next thing we have is a newsletter. Commissioner Thompson has agreed to put out a newsletter. This was something he was wanting to do anyway, and a lot of you have asked for written communications as opposed to videos, and that's fine. Many more have asked for videos, at least to me. So there's a need for both. And so he's going to take care of the written newsletter portion. I'm going to continue to do the videos, and you're welcome to use whichever format you like the best. Next is what we talked about originally, the open meeting agenda. And you can see this is pretty short. Okay, obviously March 7th is our open meeting day. Whoops, right here. 9 o'clock is when it starts. And most of our items are, wow, jumping around a lot here. Sorry about that. Most of our items are consent items. So first we have a securities issue right here, typical stuff, some fraud related stuff. Let's see, CCNN to provide telecommunications in the state. This company wants a chance to operate in our state, and the CCNN is the Certificate of Convenience and Necessity. That's their service territory. That's their operating, the license, I guess, if you will, to operate in that service territory. Then we have Foothills Water and Sewer. They want to extend their service territory. They need a CCN extension. So that's that's going on. Usually that happens because new development, right? Somebody put a neighborhood in, they need to cover it with water and wastewater. Verde Valley, This one's a little bit interesting in that they're trying to get an interim manager mandate that we put in terminated. And the reason is because a few years ago, I believe this utility had an owner that passed away. So somebody had to manage that water utility, and the commission basically gave an order that this company will do the management. And that's kind of a dark cloud hanging over their heads. So they've asked for that to be removed. Now, nothing's going to change. They're still going to hire the same company to run it, and nothing will really change, but they want to remove that order. Okay, a couple of solar installations. They need to connect to the grid, so that's what 11 Mile and Yuma is there. Navapache, they had some a rate case recently where they were authorized to go get some long-term debt, and they had an interest rate cap on it. Unfortunately, interest rates have been rising, so they've come back in and said, hey, we can't find some underneath that cap. Can we have a little bit more headroom? And that's what's going on. That's just a sign of the times. Far West, they had an extension on their CCNN and a few requirements they had to meet with that. Unfortunately, the developer hasn't come through yet. They haven't done their developments and stuff, so that kind of put everything behind schedule. And so they're asking more time. Again, all of that stuff is fairly mundane stuff that we deal with all the time. And then we get to our regular agenda with one item on it at this point, and it might increase. This item was bifurcated a few months ago to be multiple items, and we likely will need to talk about most of those items. So this is likely going to be turned into 2 or 3 items on the irregular agenda. Not a big deal, but this does give us an opportunity to talk about all of those and not violate open meeting laws. So that's why it's a thing. What this item is dealing with community solar. So we have to finish the discussions on that and deal with staff's recommendation on that. So anyway, that is what I have. Let's pop back over to this screen. And as always, if you guys have a topic you want me to address, I'm happy to do that. Otherwise, I will see you next week with a recap. And then maybe we'll get into some more educational stuff because we have a little bit of a gap between open meetings at that point. So that's all I have for today. Have a great day, everybody. And as always, God bless.